Hello and welcome to the first video in a series called Brett's Business Basics with me, Brett Marshall. In these videos, I want to try and share my years of experience and knowledge across all features of business fundamentals. Doesn't matter if you're new, old, small or large. These fundamentals apply to all businesses. Today, I'm going to cover what I believe to be the key business metrics that all business owners should be measuring. And if you do that, it'll bring the right business focus and hopefully success. Now, before I get into this, I recommend that you get a pad and pen because you're going to need to write some stuff down. So you might want to pause me now briefly while you go and get that, and then we'll get straight into it. Okay. So I'm going to be talking about what I believe to be 7 or 8 key measures that you should be checking every week, every month, every year. And through that, you'll gain real insight into how your business is working and what are the key areas that you need to work on to guarantee you success. Those key areas, first and foremost, are number 1, the number of leads you're generating each month. And what I mean by a lead is how many people are you engaging with that actually come and talk to you, email you, and have show a particular interest in your business, in your product or your services? To me, that is a lead, someone who you have some kind of direct engagement with. Now, following that, you need to understand how many of those are you converting to actually become a customer, to actually buy from you. And I would measure that as a percentage. So then if we take the number of leads you're generating each month and the percentage of those that you're converting, that's when you get another key number, which is how many customers a month are you gaining. Then we get into the financial side, which is your revenue. And that's made up by the number of customers you have each month and the amount that they spend with you on average. And then on top of that, how many times do they buy from you each month? So if we have total number of customers, how much they spend with you and how many times a month they buy from you, that is what your total revenue per month is. Now, crucially important, if you take away all your costs, what are your profits? What money are you left with? What percentage of that revenue becomes your profit? And all that is all well and good, but most businesses go bust because they run out of money. So the crucial one for all businesses is cash flow. So what I suggest you do, or what I like you to do, is take that notepad you've got and write these down as I've done here, and then we'll go through them. So if we start with number of leads, well, this is your marketing. How are you marketing to attract people to your business? And there are some key fundamentals here before we even get started on. So if you think about your business, why you started your business, key question, and you might want to write this down. What's so different or better about your business compared to all your competitors out there? Most businesses operate in a very competitive market these days, so they're fighting for all the custom they can get. So how do you stand out? And once you identify that, that becomes your key marketing message that's then going to resonate with your target customer. So who is your target customer? Who are the people you want to attract to your business? I ask a lot of clients, if your ideal customer were to walk through the door now, what would they look like? What would their profile be? And then think about, in order to market to these people with your key marketing messages, where are they? Where do they live? What kind of interest do they have? What kind of things do they read? What kind of websites, social media will they go on? And you now start to understand what your key marketing messages need to be to make your business stand out, and who are the right people to be targeting. Now, obviously, there's different ways of doing this, and I'll go into those in a minute. Then the next step on the list is once you get those people to be interested in your products or services and engage with you, they may call you, they may come into your business and talk to you directly, they may email you. How many of those do you actually convert? Now, this is crucial to understand these numbers. So how many leads are you generating each month? And then more importantly, how many of those do you actually convert to buy from you? And this is, of course, your sales effort. So those first two key measures are to do with your marketing and your sales. Then when you get people buying from you, the next key thing to measure is how much are they actually spending with you on average? Because once you understand that number, you can start to try and influence it. Then the next key thing is how many times a month do they buy from you? Do they just buy from you once and then you never see them again? Do they buy from you several times a month, a week? It's very key that you also understand that, because again, once you know that number, you can start to try and influence it. So number one, how many leads am I generating? Times by number two, your percentage conversion rate, leads you to understand how many customers are you achieving per month. Number three, the average spend, times by number four, how many times do they buy from you per month? Then times by the number of customers is then actually giving you your total revenue per month, which you will sort of know, hopefully, but it's these numbers behind it that are driving it that are the real key here. Now then, financially, if you take away all your costs from what you're achieving in revenue, you're left with your profit. So what is that profit? The money you get to keep. What is that as a percentage of your revenue? And what is that as an actual number? Again, if you focus on these key metrics, you'll really get to understand your business. And as I've alluded to before, none of this is any good if you run out of cash. So in terms of measuring your cash flow, if you're using an accounting tool like Xero or QuickBooks, this will be part of your software. But if you haven't got any of that stuff, a simple spreadsheet, and put along the top weeks 1 to 12, and then down the left hand side, it's like your bank account, like your home budget. What revenue are you expecting to achieve over those next 12 weeks? And at what weeks is that money actually coming in? Because there may be some weeks where you actually don't have any revenue, depending on the type of business you are. However, I can guarantee along each of those weeks, you'll be spending money. You'll have all your cost, you'll have all your outlays, your utility bills, staff wages if you have staff. So again, map those out down the left-hand side. So you end up with a spreadsheet of two halves. First, top half is what money you're expecting in. Bottom half, what money's going out, more importantly. And there may be some times where if you're focused on that and you've got visibility of that, there may be some shocks in there where you realize you're going to be stretched tight for money. So very important, probably the most important one is your cash flow. So now I've gone through those different measures. How do you increase them? Because if you can increase all of them, you're guaranteed to grow your business. And what I'm going to talk about now is if you can increase each one by just 10%, your profits will actually grow by 60%. So let's put some numbers into those measures. So for example, number of leads. Let's start off with assuming at the moment a business achieves 400 leads a month. So number of leads each month, 400. Number two, what's their conversion rate as a percentage? Well, of those 400 leads, they managed to convert 25%. So 400 times 25% means that they achieve 100 customers a month buying from them. So the number of customers is 100. Now, as I said earlier, as those customers, 100 customers, are buying from that business, what's the average spend? So let's assume the average spend is £2 a month. Sorry, £2 per transaction. Then the next number to measure is, well, how many times a month do they buy from the business? So let's assume that's just twice a month. So they're buying twice a month, spending £2, and there's 100 customers. So that means the monthly turnover of this business is £400. Now, when that business takes away all its monthly costs from that £100, they're actually making 25% profit, or £100 in simple terms. And let's assume they've got a cash flow of 12 weeks. So they've mapped out the next 3 months and what they're expecting to come in versus what they're expecting to pay, and they're okay for the next 3 months. Now, what about if we talk about how we can increase all these different measures by around 10%? So if you remember, the number of leads per month was 400. Increase that by 10%, that's 440. Now, I talked about generating leads is down to your marketing. So what are some of the strategies that you might be able to do to generate more leads? What marketing tools are you using? And I'm not suggesting you spend lots of money on this. If you're a new business, first and foremost, you've got to have social media. Maybe Facebook, Instagram, and if it's a business-to-business service, certainly LinkedIn. You should be, in my opinion, posting maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Now, the key word is social. Don't just keep posting about offers for your business or about your business. Try and make it insightful. Try and make it fun. You want people to stop scrolling when they get to your post, because they get to know you. They get to understand about the insights into your business. People are always interested in what's actually going on more behind the scenes. So post about products, post about jobs that you've done if you're a trade, post about your staff. People find those more interesting. Come across as you really want people to understand how nice and friendly and helpful you are. And then every so often, you might want to post something specific about the business, something you're doing, a new product or service, any kind of promotions you're running. But don't do that all the time. Next big thing is your website. If you can afford a website, make it brightly coloured, make it easy to look at, make it very easy to navigate. Build it from the point of view of the customer, not from you as the business owner. Think about the journey that those people are going to come on and be able to come to your website and effectively be asked, what can we do for you today? Where do you want to go today on a website? Make it really easy to use, make it very attractive and helpful. Other areas of marketing, of course, you can do advertising, you could do local advertising, leaflets, email campaigns, telesales campaigns, all these different tools that I'll talk about in a different video when I'll focus on how to boost your marketing. But the number one that people don't use, and it's free, is ask for referrals. Business owners I talk to, they're dealing with customers and they never say to that customer, do you know anyone else who might be interested in my products or services? It doesn't cost anything. Get people to recommend you. It's a massive tool that can generate more leads for you and doesn't cost you anything. Moving on to conversion rate, well, this is about your sales. So once you've generated your leads, the key is to convert as many as possible. That's quite obvious. So what sales techniques do you use? Again, so many businesses and business owners, if they're particularly sending a proposal or a quote to potential customers, they never follow up. They don't hear back. Email campaigns, well, they don't work because we did an email campaign and we hardly got any sales from it. It's about converting them. It starts with product knowledge. You need to be able, and your staff need to be able, to explain and understand all your product range and deal with any queries that the customers may have and build from there. And the first and foremost thing, it starts with understanding what your customer actually needs or wants, or what's the problem that they're looking to solve. So the mistake that many salespeople do is they just sell their product or services. You ask. A sales conversation should be like a normal conversation you'd have with anyone. You should spend more time asking them about what it is they're looking for, what is it they need, what problem is it they're looking to solve. And for people who have a mental block around sales, replace the word sales with help. So instead of how can I sell this to you, actually, let me understand more about you, what it is you're looking for, and then let me tell you how I can help you. And I guarantee your conversion rate will increase massively. Average spend is a big part of your sales. Once you understand how much people are spending with you on average, then you can start to play around with how do I get them to spend more? And this can be about your product or service offering. Can you get them to upgrade? Can you upsell to them? Think about McDonald's. Back in the day, you used to go into McDonald's and ask for a burger, and what do they used to say? Do you want fries with that? Now, there's a whole board there, and it's all bundled up though, isn't it? It's all designed to get you to spend more money. So, question for you as a business owner, what's your equivalent of, would you like fries with that? Have different offerings for people. Silver, gold, silver, bronze. How do you get them to the gold package? How do you get them to spend more money? And then the next metric is how often do they come and buy from you? If they only buy from you once and you never see them again, depending on the type of business you are, how do you get them to come and buy more regularly? Well, key one here, a key trick is always get someone's email address. Then you will have a most valuable asset, which is all the data of people who've bought from you, so that you can simply message them. And I'm not talking about hounding people or pestering people, but if you've got something new, something interesting to tell people, if you've got some particular offers on, you can email the people who've bought from you. Hopefully they know you, they like you, they were happy before. So just keep in touch with them, build that relationship. So every so often, I'd suggest maybe every 3 months, if depending on the type of business you are, you do an email campaign to say, hi, hope everything's okay, just to let you know. And that way you can start to, again, it's part of your marketing, but you want people to come back to you and buy from you on a more regular basis. So now we've got a number of customers, how much they spend, how often they spend, and as I explained earlier, that's where you're getting your revenue from. Key thing though, is rather than chasing revenue, you must always keep an eye on the profit. You shouldn't be discounting too much. It's very easy to discount 10% off, and actually your margin is only 10%. You've given all your margin away. So what kind of deals can you do that ensure and protect your profit? That's where things like multi-buys come in. The other big thing about profit is price increases. I know it's a very difficult market at the moment, but all your costs are going up. When was the last time you put your prices up? Too many business owners are frightened to put their prices up because they think they'll lose all their customers. I can guarantee you it doesn't happen. You may need to look at a 10% increase, keep your profits up. But there are other things you can do as well. How can you keep costs down? Of all the products and services that you sell, which are the most profitable to you. It's understanding these things that then mean you can then focus on the lines, the services, products that are going to drive the most profit for you. Those are the ones you need to push. So that's profit. But as I keep saying, none of that is any good without cash flow. So what's your cash flow? How many weeks can your business keep going with no income? Worst case scenario. What cash do you have? Biggest mistake, people don't plan for the tax bill. Get to the end of the year, think they've made some money, then they've got a tax bill they haven't accounted for. So it's very important, as I say, you map out a weekly sheet, you do a cash flow forecast, and hopefully then that gives you some comfort that you've got plenty of money to keep going, you can keep the business going while you work on all these other things that will grow your business. And of all the measures I've just explained, you only need to increase them by 10% and you'll grow your profits by 60%. If you're tracking and measuring each month all these key business metrics that I've gone through, let's understand the impact that this can have. So if we go back to my example of a business, in terms of number of leads, it was attracting 400 leads per month. If that increased by 10%, well, that would go to 440. It had a conversion rate of 25%. If that increased by 10%, that's not 30, that's 27.5%. Well, now the number of customers a month has gone from 100 to 121. If you remember, the average spend was £2 a month. If you increase that by just 10%, well, that's £2.20. The number of times the customers bought was twice a month. If you increase that by 10%, that's 2.2 times a month. Doesn't seem much, but it all adds up. So we've now grown our total revenue from £400 a month to £585.64. Our profit, if you remember, was 25%. If we can increase that to 27.5%, we've now gone from making £100 a month to £161 a month. So by focusing on your business metrics, by just moving them a touch by 10% each, that it increases your profits by 61%. So it's a multiplier effect. Now, the fact that you become aware of all these different metrics means you will focus on them. You will really understand what drives your business. It may be that you're getting loads of leads a month, but your conversion rate is rubbish. So just by increasing your conversion rate, you can dramatically increase your revenue. I see too many times with businesses that their business is up and down because they're busy. When they're busy, they're not driving or generating new leads. And then you go through a quieter time, so your business drops. And then you start to panic. I need more business. So then you go back to focusing on leads. So a key message here is focus on generating new business all the time. Get rid of those ups and downs. I hope you found this useful. Now take the time, write down your numbers. If you don't know them, start measuring. If you'd like to speak to me and go through this in more detail about your specific business metrics, I'd be delighted to hear from you. Please contact me in the first instance by email, bmarshall2307@gmail.com. And it's for free. So what have you got to lose? Thank you.